been reporting on a lot of exotic tryptamines. I thought it would be a good idea to report on a lot of different psychedelics that I thought were the most weakest ones, in my opinion. So the first one would be 4-HODET. And I remember this one was pretty much like the whole mushroom experience minus the actual trip part. So it gave you the body load and the kind of dreamy outlook, but there was absolutely no patterning, no out-of-body experiences or open-eye visuals or anything like that. Maybe a little bit of a color alteration, but that was by far the weakest one. It didn't do anything that I would categorize as psychedelics, so I think that that was among one of the weakest psychedelics that I've tried. And then the next one would be 5-MEO MIPT. So they would call this one, I think, Moxie. And this one also, it didn't have any distinguishable open-eyed visuals or patterning or anything like that. It was purely, I found this one to be a little bit more intoxicating than the other one that I mentioned, and what I mean by that is just more psychedelic in the sense that it manifested thoughts and stuff, because the one that I mentioned before, the 4-HODET, like, it didn't alter any of the thoughts or give you a mind fuck at all. But I think Moxie sort of was a mental thing, but still very light. Like, these things I think would be like just best for like a pure recreational thing, or like even a starting off dose for people that like want to get into experiencing psychedelics, but they just want to like dip their feet into it. So I think that these chemicals would be somewhat useful for that. And the last two are actual phenylethylamines. So the first one is 2c-C, and this one was pretty much like what I explained with those other ones, except for 2c chemicals always have a specific brightness alteration. Like, anytime that you look at lights, it always seems a lot more radiant. And I find that they all do this in a sense. Like, I can tell when I'm on a 2c chemical because of how it alters the light that I'm looking at. So it, again, this one didn't have any patterning, any closed-eye visuals or anything like that. And it was a purely, it barely even had any mental effects, and it didn't last very long either. And that's pretty much the same with 2c-Ds, and I consider those to be cousins, 2c-C and 2c-D. They both didn't really have much effects in anything that you would categorize as like truly psychedelic. It was just body load and alteration in your brightness. And like, I guess what these things would be good for is that if you were like a stoner and you took them, you would get a lot more higher on the weed, just because like the body load and everything. So I think that if I wanted to like just chill, I could probably use these things and then just like smoke weed, and like if I wasn't expecting to have like an actual psychedelic experience, just have something that I would relax or clear my mind with, and maybe these chemicals would be useful. But like, I wouldn't actively try to search for these ones again, because they're like, I'm interested in the visions and actual like closed-eye visuals and open-eye visuals and entity contact and out-of-body experiences, and those won't do that for me. Like, I've only been messing with like DMT and recently LSD, which is more recreational for me, but other than that, it's not something that I would reach out and try to get. So I actually want to know if anyone else tried any of these chemicals, and if they did, what did they think of it? Did they have any sort of actual psychedelic experiences with it? Like, visuals or anything, or was it what I pretty much explained? Because I'm usually pretty accurate with my reviews of these things based on, what I experience. I find that, like, I'm a good measure for what other people will or have the capability of experiencing. I know everyone's different, but usually I'm good with trying to figure out what's good and what isn't. So yeah, just let me know about that, and it would be pretty interesting to see.